こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リーズユナイテッドの田中碧に関する動画です。リーズユナイテッドは、FA カップの4回戦で、チャンピオンシップのバーミンガムシティと対戦し、1対1で延長戦まで終え、PK 戦を制し、リーズが5回戦で駒を進めました。リーズは、ローテーションで大幅にメンバーを入れ替えたことにより、田中碧も先発出場しましたが、同じような状況で、ウィリーノンとブオナノッテ、ジョエル・ピルーなども先発し、全体的に低調なパフォーマンスに終わったという評価が多いようです。リーズファンで田中碧を擁護することが多い Kagey は、この試合の後も、いかにこのようなメンバーが、出場機会をもらえずにさらにプレーの質が落ちているのかを話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょ
う。We are live, people. Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's time for the match reaction. Birmingham City 1, Leeds United 1. Leeds United through on penalties. Oh, boy. God. Well, that was hard work, wasn't it? Very hard work. There's some stuff to talk about in this one. Look, off the top, the most important thing is that we've gone through to the next round. How many of these players are going to see the starting lineup in the next round is a whole other question. But we're going to get into that in this one. But yeah, listen, shout out to Birmingham City today, because if we're being real, and that's what we always are on this here platform, on this channel, Birmingham City were the better team today. Easily the better team as well. It's not even close. They just outperformed us in so many metrics today. But we're through, and that's the most important thing. Hopefully we can get Mansfield in the next one. God, let's hope we can get Mansfield. Yeah, before we get into it, you guys know the drill. Like the video, free to do, helps out the channel. Subscribe if you will. Thank you to Mr. P, Malcolm Patrick, and Herman Cohen for the super thanks on the last videos. Much appreciated, guys, and keep up the support. Afternoon, who's that there? Russ, afternoon to you, my man. Chris here, take it all day long, but my word, what a long 3 hours. Honestly, it was crazy. Arca, will we ever see Buono Notte in the lead shirt again? Man, if we didn't go through today, I think he'd have been sent to the Shadow Realm. He might make the bench in the next cup game. We're going to get into it, though. We're going to absolutely get into it. Lee here, we stunk out the place today. Absolutely, yeah. It's a cup game, so the most important thing is that you go through, of course, but there were so many underperformers today, including the manager. Yeah, Lightning here saying the best thing Longstaff did all game was put the penalty away. Yeah, penalty shootouts are penalty shootouts. I never take it. You know, if someone misses a penalty, it doesn't affect my overall view of them in the 90 minutes. Because if you're talking overall 90 minutes, then Tommy Doyle was one of the best players on the pitch today. Like, he didn't allow our midfield to play, but then he ends up missing the first penalty for Birmingham. So that doesn't influence my thinking on that. But Tommy Doyle made some of our players look very, very out of place today. Bobby here, Longstaff is the most nothing player ever, by the way. Yeah, I've been saying it, Bobby. I can say, I think I'll keep on saying it until he proves me wrong, but Bournemouth at home was his best game, and I don't think he's going to top it. He just doesn't have it in him. He's not a good player. He's never been a good player. He's an energizer bunny across the pitch, but he doesn't do nothing with the ball. Very, very poor. Radaby Leeds here with the super chat. Thank you, man. Should we be worried about how poor Tanaka, Buono Notte, and Peru were, or was it just a lack of game time? Yeah. Okay, after bat as well, people talk about the starting lineup and poor performances. A lot of the starting lineup, people, the match fitness, the lack of match fitness was evident. Okay, this is me getting this out the way before we go into like individual performances. And Farker has said this before in terms of Buono Notte, in that you give him 5 minutes to impress and it's up to him to impress. 5-10 minutes for players does not keep the match fit, and that was very, very evident today. And also as well, I will say this: didn't Birmingham and Leeds more so in the first half, even in the second, but more the first half, didn't remind you of Leeds United in the Premier League? Whereas we're not the fancy team, but at home, we give that little bit extra. There's a little bit more, you know, running hard work to be done, and we make the opposition, the away team, look a little bit uncomfortable. It reminded me of us in the Premier League this season. I got to say, Birmingham were definitely throughout the match the better team, and with just a little bit better decision-making. The youngster that came on for Gray, what's his name? I want to get his name because he was involved in a lot of stuff. What's his name, man? Osman. if he had a little bit better final third decision making, you know, they probably put that game away in the 90 minutes. But what I will say is that a lot of players here were severely lacking match fitness. And this is where you always go into managers when they say they want a small group, but then they don't end up using a lot of the group through the season anyway. That was evident today. All right. And I don't know what Okafor, he had to go off with an injury. Hopefully, you know, with the way that Farker uses him, it's not a long-term one or even short-term. If it's his hamstring, though, I think he might miss a couple of games unless it was just like a scare or something. Hopefully that's the best case. But Goodmanson got beasted for 120 minutes today. Gabriel Goodmanson was not in my starting lineup for a reason. He's only just come back from injury himself, and he played 120. That is crazy. This is what I'm talking about when they say they're satisfied with what we've got when the transfer window's shut. You're not, because if that's the case, Byram is starting today. And then if you need Goodmanson later on, you put Goodmanson on. He should not have played 120. But yeah, overtime, man. He had to put in the overtime form. It's crazy. Ryan here saying, yeah, this is why these players need minutes during league games. Otherwise, they're coming cold. So cold. And, you know, the super chat earlier mentioned Tanaka. He wasn't good today. I will say that. But you can't convince me this guy hasn't lost confidence. Look, there were some sloppy passes from Tanaka today. But the more telling thing for me was when Longstaff won it from Birmingham City were passing out from the back in the second half. Longstaff wins the ball and it breaks for Tanaka on the edge of the box. Hey, months ago, Tanaka is hitting that first time into the corner. Instead, he stops, takes a touch, and then passes it across to Ampadu. The guy is lacking confidence as well as match fitness. He knows he doesn't have the trust of the manager, and you can tell in his performance. Again, not excusing his sloppy passing today. I'm not doing that, but you can tell there is a lack of confidence from How Tanaka. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Matt here about Buonanotte. Ampadu changed things when he came on. Yeah, Ampadu looked every bit of the Premier League player that he is. And Buonanotte today, when I mentioned Doyle absolutely had his lunch today. Doyle did not let Buonanotte escape. One thing I will say in terms of Buonanotte, though, is that he was playing central midfield, almost defensive midfield. That's not where you're going to get the best out of him. But when he did try and break free, Doyle just ate him up. And we did not see Buonanotte in the second half. Like, Barker does not make halftime changes. So unless Buonanotte has a knock that we don't know of at this stage, you know, we'll talk about Barker's comments tomorrow on the cool down. He hooked him at halftime, but that's Daniel Barker's attitude towards lone players anyway. He doesn't fancy him. He said so himself. He said it about Buonanotte in that he needs to work extra hard to even get half a look in over a permanent player. He said it himself. So when Buonanotte puts in a performance like that, he didn't do himself any justice. Max, that's pretty good. I like that one. When they're not today. That's tremendous, Max. That's tremendous. Stephen saying here, Buonanotte and Nonto are terrible. Again, yeah, Nonto. This is it as well, Stephen. No, I do agree. Nonto didn't, you know, cover himself in glory today, but how much football has he played? And then he still comes off before Noah Okafor. Don't know what was going on with Dan James today. I don't know if he's injured or re-aggravated an injury or not. I would have expected to see him today, but I guess we'll get some clarification after the game. But yeah, there was just so many underperformers today. And, yeah, you know, Bonao playing the 90, but couldn't last into the extra time. I know he took a bit of a knock to their head, but again, he's just so unfit, isn't he? That's what I mean. AJ here saying, was happy to see Perry getting the admiration from the players, being hunt-dubbed by, but was solid. Yeah, Perry was our best player, and that's damning against a championship team. That save that he made, you know how I say about Carl Darlow with his TV saves? That save that Perry made in the first half from Stansfield, that was a worldie, man. Off the tip of the fingers, that onto the bar, that was a tremendous save. You know, he made a couple ones for the TV. I'm not going to absolve him of that, but he kept us in the game, and it wasn't until a deflected shot, you know, late on, you know, beat him that put it past him. But he was brilliant today, Perry. And if you're talking about putting your, you know, confidence in your £16 million first choice goalkeeper, then he should be starting league games. And again, people say, but Darlow hasn't done too much wrong. He's a backup goalkeeper for a reason, you know, and Perry hasn't done too much wrong himself. Listen, at the end of the year, 2025, we were 6 points clear of the relegation zone. And Perry was a part of that journey. Yes, he's made mistakes, but hey, listen, I'm sure Farker will go back to Darlow in the next game. But yeah, Perry was really, really good today. And of course, he saved the penalty, which was good. Nicholas saying great header by Justin. Justin was good today, our captain in the first half, of course, before Ethan came on. But yeah, deflected goals are deflected goals. It can be anyone that happens to. It happens, doesn't it? But the fact that we allow Birmingham to get pressure on us after a poor corner as well, by the way, hit the first man, Bogle clears it out. Shouldn't be getting anything from that. And Patrick Roberts, put it back in, and they got an equalizer. Pleased for Perry today. Yeah, absolutely. Robert here, wasn't Nonto played out of position too? Farker absolutely wasting his talents and diminishing their sell-on value if they do leave. Shocking management. Yeah, Nonto at points today. We're talking about not impressive, but he was at right wing back at some of the points today, people. He's not a right wing back. But that's what I'm also saying about Buonanotte. Two things can be true. He was poor, but he was in central midfield and defensive midfield for quite a bit of that first half as well. So there is things to be said about that. But yeah, players playing out their position, not getting match time. The values are plummeting to the floor. It's true. Ben saying here, Sean Longas and Brendan Aronson are brutal. Get rid in the summer. I actually thought Aronson, when he first came on in the second half, gave us a little bit more energy as he does. But there was some decision making from a lot of the players. Peru, when he had an opportunity to pass it through, he didn't do so. Calvert-Lewin, when he took a shot when Peru was absolutely on his own, he didn't pass it. Aronson the same as well. Yeah, there was quite a bit of that today when it came towards the end. It was becoming like a basketball game. But yeah, it's crazy. Michael here, not giving Birmingham City enough credit. I believe they are unbeaten at home in the championship. I've given them credit, but whether they're unbeaten or not, they could have 100 points in the championship. We're a Premier League team. And when you look at our lineup to start with, that should be good enough to give Birmingham City a better game than we did. And I've given Birmingham City their credit. They should have won today, So, they should have won. Isaac here, who's been a member for 31 months. Thank you, Isaac. Tanaka, Peru, and Nonto will all be sold for peanuts in the summer. Hate how we really get value for our players. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
次は解説です。今回は少し難しい表現や少し珍しいような比喩的な表現や口語表現などを解説していますので、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。We stunk out the place today.
スティンカウトは、もともとは悪臭でいっぱいにするという意味です。しかしスポーツの文脈では比喩的に使われます。チームや選手の出来があまりにも悪い時に使う表現です。ひどい出来だった、最悪だったというニュアンスです。かなり口語的で、トイックではまず出ません。サッカーのリアクション語的で、ガやイギリス英語でよく聞く表現です。感情が強く出る表現なので、フォーマルな場面では使いません。
We stunk out the place today. We stunk out the place today. When I mentioned Doyle absolutely had his lunch today.
Have someone's lunch はスポーツでよく使われる口語表現です。直訳すると、相手の昼ご飯を取るですが、比喩です。相手を完全に抑え込み、何もさせない時に使います。サッカーなら、一朝一で完封したり、中盤で支配したりする場面です。かなり強い言い方なので、感情の入った動画でよく聞きます。丸な場では使わず、会話や実況向けの表現です。トイックにはほぼ出ないタイプのスラングです。
When I mentioned Doyle absolutely had his lunch today. When I mentioned Doyle absolutely had his lunch today. But when he did try and break free, Doyle just ate him up.
Eat up は、まず全部食べるという基本の意味があります。そこから比喩で時間やお金をどんどん消費するという意味でも使われます。サッカーでは、さらに口語で、相手を完全に封じるという意味でも使われます。文脈で意味が変わるので、何を目的語にとっているかが大事です。トイックでは、消費する用法が中心で出ます。スポーツ比喩は、会話や実況で覚えるのが良いでしょ
う。But when he did try and break free, Doyle just ate him up. But when he did try and break free, Doyle just ate him up. Nonto didn't, cover himself in glory today.
Cover oneself in glory は、直訳すると、栄光で身を包むですが、慣用句です。意味は名誉を得る、評価を上げる、良いところを見せるです。ただ実際はいない定型で使われることが多いです。強い罵倒ではなく、 少し皮肉っぽく控えめに批判する言い方です。スポーツのコメントやニュース記事でよく出ます。の品質表現ではなく、会話や記事で覚えるタイプです。日本語では良いところを見せられませんでしたという表現が良いでしょう。
Nanto didn't, cover himself in glory today. Nanto didn't, cover himself in glory today. I don't know if he's injured or re-aggravated an injury or not.
アグラベイトは悪化させるという意味でよく使われます。特に怪我や痛み、症状を悪化させるときに出てきます。Aggravated his injury は怪我を悪化させたということです。また問題や状況をこじらせるという意味でも使えます。The delay aggravated the situation のように言います。さらに口語では人を苛立たせる意味もあります。ただスポーツでは怪我を悪化させるが最も品質です。Re-aggravate は再発させる、ぶり返すという意味になります。
Yeah, I don't know if he's injured or re-aggravated an injury or not. I don't know if he's injured or re-aggravated an injury or not. Being hunted by but was solid. Yeah.
Hard done by は不当に扱われるという意味の口語表現です。特にイギリス英語でよく聞きます。We've been hard done by は損をさせられた、納得いかない扱いだったというニュアンスです。単に運が悪いだけでなく、不公平さへの不満が含まれます。サッカーでは判定や運の悪さを嘆く場面で使われます。例として、審判の判断で不利になった時に言いやすいです。基本は受け身で使い、能動体ではあまり言いません。日本語では不当に扱われました。判定で損をしました。などが自然です。
Being hunted by but was solid. Being hunted by but was solid. Yeah. I'm not gonna absolve him of that.
アブソーフは責任や非難を免除するという意味です。アブソーフ、A of P の形で、A を B の責任から免れさせると言えます。スポーツでは、I can't absolve him of that mistake のように、使いそのミスは擁護できない、免罪できないというニュアンスになります。強い否定というより、冷静に線引きする言い方です。もともとは宗教や法律でも使われる少し固めの言葉ですが、会話でも時々出てくるので、覚えておくと便利です。
I'm not gonna absolve him of that. I'm not gonna absolve him of that. The values are plummeting to the floor.
プラメットは、急落する、急降下するという意味です。価格や数値だけでなく、評価や調子にも使えます。例えば、マーケットウェイリオプラメットは、市場価値が急落したとなります。ゆっくり下がるのではなく、短時間でガクッと落ちる感じがポイントです。スポーツではフォームプラメットのように、調子が急に落ちたと言えます。ニュースや経済記事でもよく見かける単語です。トイックでも見かける可能性があり、覚えておくと便利です。日本語では急落、ガタ落ちなどがいます。
The values are plummeting to the floor. The values are plummeting to the floor.
いかがでしたか？田中碧は久しぶりの出場となりましたが、少し期待通りといったような、試合感が落ちたとも言われそうなパフォーマンスでした。それだけでなく、個人的には、やはり、ハイプレスをほぼファルカに止められているような状況や、チームの戦い方が理由だと感じましたが、2部チーム相手にも、前半は前からプレスすることもなく、ただ構えて守り、ボールを持たせて、ただ守り続けるだけのような展開でもあり、田中碧の出番も、見せ場も、良さも、何も感じることはありませんでした。出場時間がない選手は、モチベーションもコンディションも落ちてしまっている状況に見えますが、ファルカの起用方法が変わることも考えにくいので、動画の最後でも言っていた通り、田中碧やピルーやノントという選手が、コンディションも上がらず、出た試合ではさらに評価を落とし、移籍させるにも価格もつかない状況になるのが目に見えてしまいます。逆に言えば、グルエブやアーロンソンのように、ファンからもかなり叩かれていたにもかかわらず、おそらくトレーニングから出場した試合でも、ただ自分ができることを精一杯やっていたことで、プレーも評価も覆すことができている例もありますから、田中碧がそうできることを願うことくらいしかできませんので、そのような展開になることを願い、期待しながら、ただ応援したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。